The interim featherweight title is on the line at UFC 284 as the Octagon heads down under back to Perth, Western Australia. Electric striker Yair Rodriguez takes on the power puncher that is Josh Emmett. UFC analyst and veteran Alan Jouban here to break it down. We'll deep dive on the X's and O's between these guys, with Alexander Volkanovski moving up to chase double champion status in the headliner at UFC 284. Sets up a great interim title fight at featherweight.
Yeah, it really freed up a terrific matchup with this one. Two guys that get it done traditionally in the striking department, but there's a contrast in styles in this one. You look at Yair Rodriguez. He wants to use that Taekwondo black belt to stay at range, not take any unnecessary damage, chop you away with the kicks, and then get a running start where he can jump up and do one of those aerial attacks. On the other side, Brennan, Josh Emmett, he's the guy with power in both hands. Knockout ability with either hand, from the jab, from a hook, whatever it may be. He's gonna have to close the range, close the distance against Yair Rodriguez.
All right, we'll dive deep on the fight focus. Alan, hit that button for me. And we're not gonna bury the lead. Unpredictability is the calling card for Yair Rodriguez. Power for Josh Emmett. We'll start on the Yair Rodriguez side.
Let's get with it. First off, unpredictability. You said it. He's a guy that we've seen. He will go jumping switch kicks. He will go tornado kicks. He will do kicks I don't even have a name for sometimes. It's hard to call some of his fights because of the moves that he's doing. You haven't seen it before, but it's always fun stuff. And he's a guy that's not afraid to take chances, especially even in the start of a fight. You see right here, a very passionate guy, as you very well know. He will start the fight against Jeremy Stephens with the flying side kick right here. I want to get into this detail right here against Hooker, though. He starts his fight against Dan Hooker. I was on this card. I remember watching some of this stuff, wondering, who's this guy? Who's this guy, Yair? Not afraid to take these risks right here. Watch this. Yair, I bet you this guy's played soccer before, because you could tell he does a lot of moves, a lot of side kicks, a lot of bicycle-type kicks that lend itself, attributes itself to his soccer background. Right here, Dan Hooker catches this kick with Hooker. You see right here, he's going to kind of just slide his foot by. Off-balance Hooker. He's just creating an opportunity. This isn't a fight-finishing technique, but it's a high-level technique, Brandon. It's a high-level technique that's going to set him up to do something else. And in this case, it's a technique that's going to set up a counter right here with the spinning elbow. I'm going to roll it forward, touches the leg, spins with the elbow. That one glanced off of the face of him. You see the confidence that he has. Not a lot of people want to turn their back to an opponent. He's the type of guy that will put his back to his opponent for a split second to throw a kick. This looks like a rolling thunder type kick, but those are traditionally a front flip, and you land with the heel. And this one, this is like I said, the soccer scenario. This is a bicycle kick where he's turning his back to his opponent for a brief amount of time. He's going to try to come over the top with his shin and land on Hooker. This one glances off of him, but again, it shows he has no regards to his own safety in these type of fights, and he's able to do these type of big maneuvers because he's able to recover so fast. You saw when he hits the ground, he's athletic, he's fast, he's got great balance. He can get back up to his feet and not feel like he's in too much of a danger of losing the momentum of his fight. This one, Charles Rosa. He's throwing a number of kicks in this fight, getting Charles Rosa guessing. You're going to see right here, he's going to throw a wheel kick at some point right there. Look at the reaction of Charles Rosa. He's laughing. He's like, okay, this is fun. We're doing these type of things. What he's trying to set up, though, he's trying to find the perfect opportunity to go for his jumping switch kick. On his jumping switch kicks, he loves to jump up in the air, use that lead leg against the lead leg of his opponent as like a step. He's going to put his foot there and push off of it. He's going to get airborne, and when he uses his lead leg, he pushes it to let the other hip come forward, because what he needs to do is kick with this leg and then immediately swivel his hips to come around with the other leg and kick high. So he uses it as a step. I'm going to roll it forward. You're going to see he's going to jumping switch kick, right, left, glances off of the head. Once again, a lot of these strikes, a lot of these big maneuvers, it can be hit or miss for some people. With him, he's done so many of them. He's got so many reps with them. You could tell if he doesn't knock you out, he's just missing by a fraction, right? He's always on target with everything. And I speak about on target. He does that same technique. I'm going to let this one roll against Andre Fili. This one was right on target. It hits the bullseye. Same jumping technique that he lands. This one hits Andre Fili and puts him out. This fight, Brandon, you know very well.
Yeah.
You were at this one. This is one of the craziest finishes that we've ever seen in any UFC fight because of what happened. A little backstory on this one, guys. In this fight, 5-round fight, Korean Zombie was actually winning this fight. Yair Rodriguez was down in this fight, so he had to find a way to come back. We know what happened at the end, but I want to set this up a little bit. Earlier in the fight, you see He's going to go for an up elbow. This is something that Anderson Silva had success with in his career. A little bit of, you kind of chamber it forward, and then you're going to come up in the air with the elbow, as you'll see right here. And he just misses it. But he took a shot at it. He took a stab at it. Didn't land. But he's taking mental notes. Yair Rodriguez is a smart fighter. Later on in this matchup, he notices one thing. Zombie at this point is starting to rush forward, close the distance for him, which allows easier technique because they're already closing the distance. You don't have to worry about it. And this one, he's going to make an adjustment. Instead of going up elbow, he's going to go spinning back elbow. All he has to do now, it's like a wrestler timing a shot. All he has to do now, since Zombie is closing the distance, Yair could take this spinning back elbow and try to place it right here. Making an adjustment, getting Zombie to rush in. I'm going to roll it forward. You see this, just misses the mark. Now, we get back to the end of the fight that we were speaking about. To set this up as well, this is the last round. Not a lot of time left in this. Right before this happened, Brandon, you were there. These guys sat in the middle of the octagon. They had like a Max Holloway moment where they kind of pointed to the middle and they let the crowd get it. And what Yair did, in my mind, it was that he was baiting Zombie. He said, bring it in, because he knew he had to come back. He knew he needed a Hail Mary shot. He baited Zombie to take a risk in this fight, and it paid off for Yair. And later on, we see Yair initiates the momentum. Zombie retaliates. He comes forward again. This is what Yair wants. He wants Zombie to close the distance for him to create something spectacular to get a finish. And in this one, I'm going to let it roll. He does this up elbow, something we had never seen before, and puts his lights out. At the end of this, we were all still wondering what had happened. What had happened was he threw this up elbow right here, caught him flush on the chin, something that we had never seen before. Came straight up with it. Again, earlier in the fight, he tried the spinning back elbow. It didn't work. He changed it up on this one. He baited Zombie to come in, and it proved to be very effective. I've tried this before. I don't have the flexibility in my shoulders to do this, but this just shows some of the creativity that he has, and this was a highlight for the ages in this one.
It certainly was. I remember being on the call for that, and that is proof positive that with Yair Rodriguez, it doesn't matter if there's 1 second left. It doesn't matter if it's the first 10 seconds of a fight. To do that at the end of the 5th round is something that we so rarely see, and it's another reason why I love doing this show, because I would have never gone back and read the different types of elbows that he threw throughout the 25 minutes.
I didn't remember it. All we remember is like, what happened? What happened? What happened? We were trying to figure out what happened until we saw the replay, going back and watching this fight. He was setting it up the whole entire fight.
Speaking of fight-ending power, no matter where it is in the fight, I give you Josh Emmett. He has done that several times throughout his career as well.
Brutal power. To set it up as well, he's a much shorter fighter, but he's got almost the same arm length as Yair right there. So he uses long arms mixed with power to get the job done. We're going to show you. He can get the job done. He's known for his overhand right. But watch the power that he possesses in all of his punches. Right here, he can sit you down with a jab. Basic jab right there, but it just shows if you go into range with him, a lot of times he likes to paw with the jab. But if you sit in boxing range with him, Brennan, he'll just go and chamber that jab out. Boom, you see his opponent right here, walks right into it, lays him down. You don't often see that with the 45ers. I want to highlight this one here. Shane Burgos, another tremendous striker. By the way, Josh Emmett's last 3 opponents, Dan Ige, Shane Burgos,
Calvin Kattar.
Calvin Kattar, thank you very much. All high-level strikers, right? So it lends itself beautifully going into this matchup against Yair Rodriguez because he has passed all these tests. Now, he's traditionally, Josh Emmett, an orthodox fighter. You see right here, you look at his legs, they usually say never stand square like this. He's squared up. But because what he's doing is he's moving laterally. He's moving left and right, not allowing Shane Burgos to get a beat on him. What he's also doing is he's switching stances. He's kind of secretly hiding that he's going from orthodox, as you see here, into southpaw. And I went a little bit too far, but as you can see, his best punch is his overhand right, but he's got power in both hands. He's in southpaw stance now, left hand over the top, or this way rather, but you're coming over the top. And to be able to switch stances and feel comfortable, a lot of people, they'll switch stances and they have one move. But Emmett is very comfortable switching stances, letting it fly and showing you he carries the same power in both hands. We've showed that he's got the jab. We've shown that he's got the left hand. But this is his go-to. This is something that we all need to look out for in this matchup with Yair Rodriguez. It's the double jab, right hand over the top. But with his double jab, what he does right here, it's a feint, it's a paw. He's just kind of touching to give you something to occupy yourself and a rangefinder to set up this. This is what he wants the entire time. This is chambered the entire time that he's moving. The jab is just a paw. And the other thing I want you to focus on in this one, look at how high he's standing right here. These guys are almost the same height in this. Now, as this sequence plays itself out, something that he does very well, he level changes. And he gets your opponent guessing two things. Either A, when you're changing levels, you're either looking for the takedown, or I'm changing levels right here, and then that's gonna make your opponent look down, which is gonna free up the guard for the hand that's coming over the top, because the right hand comes over the top. And if your eyes are looking down, you're not gonna be thinking about it. So let me clear all this, and I want you to keep an eye on this level bar right here. I'm gonna roll it forward. You'll see he's gonna paw with the jab. Just left hand is out. It's not even there doing any damage, and he's already chambering that right hand over the top. But you can see now how low he is. He's finishing this strike right here, right hand over the top, and look at the level change. So it gets your opponent thinking, because when you're going up against somebody and you square it up, when they go low, you follow them. It's instinctively. You're following their chest, their torso, their eyes. You're following it. And what it does a lot of times, it drops your hand. You're thinking stuff to take down, or I'm thinking get their body off from me. But it lowers your guard. As you can see right here, even though Dan Ige stayed true and kept his guard high, he's still able to land this powerful punch. Knocks him on his butt. Double jab, overhand right, his go-to combo. On this sequence right here, 2-3-2, another one of his go-tos. Let me show you a little bit of Josh Emmett being smart right here. Against Felipe, the first punch that he throws is a right hand down the pipe. Felipe's bringing his elbow in closer. Normally we start here, but if it's a punch down the middle, it splits your guard, right? It's splitting this guard right here. So you need to bring your guard inward. Felipe makes that adjustment. But what it does is it frees up the punch on the outside. So you saw after that punch, look at where Felipe's guard is now. It's in the middle of his forehead, right? And you see this opening now on the side. Josh Emmett recognizes that mid-combo, and the second punch becomes a hook instead of a straight. Comes around the guard, knocks him down. So he's very good. Even just a 2-3-2 combo, he makes one a straight, and the other punch a looping one. This is the biggest knockout of his career, in my opinion. Michael Johnson, this guy's been in the UFC forever. A very tough striker to go against as well. In this one, he does the same thing we talked about earlier, where he's gonna level change right here. They're at the same height, but he's gonna level change, get lower, have Michael Johnson thinking about it. And when he does this, I wanna show you where Michael Johnson's eyes are and his hands are. See where the level change is? We spoke about it. He's nice and low right here. Johnson's head's still up here. And Johnson's eyes, he's looking down. He's wondering what's going on. And also you look at where's Johnson's left hand. His left hand is right here, trying to stuff a takedown or whatever's going on. And all that did was free up that huge overhand right. I'm gonna back this up so you can see this in all its beauty. Pawing jab, overhand right, backed up by the power, gets the job done every time by Josh Emmett.
And that for Josh Emmett also came in the final minute of the
right?
third round on a 3-round fight. Yair Rodriguez, when it comes to his striking, of course, it's unpredictable. A lot of it has to do with how he can throw kicks.
Oh my goodness. His kicks, we could do a whole segment on just the kicks.
The whole show.
The whole show on it, because he's got so many kicks in his arsenal, but what he likes to do, he chops down his opponents. He would chop them down, have them thinking about the kicks the entire time. Watch. When he wants to use power, he uses power. When he wants to use finesse, he'll do that as well. Charles Rosa, he finds an opportunity to dig into it. He lets him feel it, takes him off balance. That's one that's gonna be stinging the next day. This is a beauty right here. Max Holloway, high-level guy right here. You saw that? He already went inside leg kick. So he's gonna change it up. Instead of going power, he's gonna go finesse and trickery. So he goes 2 inside kicks right here. And you saw now Max Holloway is recognizing it. Max Holloway now is having to address it. So he's bringing his leg inward. When somebody kicks you from the outside of the leg, we check outward. When they kick you from the inside, we point our toe to the inside. We make a small adjustment to check inward. But look, it leaves you off balance. So he recognizes that, throws 2 inside kicks against Holloway, gets him checking inward, and then look at this little finesse right here. As soon as Holloway makes an adjustment to check inward. He goes back outward, foot sweeps him, gets him off balance. I love how he changes things up with these kicks, off balances Max Holloway. There, he was just touching and feeling, right? Inside touching, pawing at him, off balance, and now he's gonna switch it up, go back to speed and power. Watch him butcher the low leg kicks, butcher the calf right here, Max Holloway. 1, give me another one. 2, get Max Holloway thinking low. What's he gonna do? Go high with the power, lands on the neck right there. He's always making you guess. When you think low, he goes high. When you think it's a soft touching one, then he'll go power. So dynamic with his kicking attack. Right here, Alex Caceres, watch this one. He's backing up in this one. He's able to move backwards, and while moving backwards, still lift this leg, his right leg right here, effortlessly, and knock down his opponent while still moving backwards. Boom, knocks down Alex. BJ Penn, we're gonna talk about the liver kick, one of my favorite kicks right here. BJ Penn is a guy that's been through it all, seen them all. BJ Penn was too flat-footed. You cannot be stationary. He's literally, look at this, he's literally flat-footed, standing square against a dynamic striker like Yair Rodriguez. You can't play that game against somebody dangerous like Yair. He will make you pay. And if you see Yair switch to southpaw stance, you better start covering your liver up with your elbow. Your guard needs to go from right here to about 10% down and cover that liver up because that's what he's looking for. You see him in the southpaw stance, he's probably going to be throwing that left kick to the liver side. That's what he does. Watch this. He brutalizes that liver. Goes back to the well again against BJ Penn. He gets confident. This is called a tornado kick, guys. If you got athletic ability, you got to be high level. Brandon, this is probably something you could do. I've seen
definitely.
What you do.
Yes.
I've seen your workout videos. I follow you. He's able to spin. I'm going to do a little DC right here. He's able to spin, get airborne. Watch the athletic ability of Yair Rodriguez. If he gets confident, don't give him that type of space. And again, bull and matador, low chopping kicks right there. Let me just show you one thing. Athleticism, we spoke about it. He's going to go right here on this kick against Jeremy Stephens. He's going to throw this kick, and he's barely going to touch the ground after. He kicks the calf. Watch his foot. Watch his foot. He barely touches the ground. Barely needs to reset and go right into a side kick. He's bouncing on one foot, throwing 2 kicks. Dangerous at all times. I'm going to let this run. We spoke about the liver kicks. If he's in southpaw, you have to be cautious. You have to be aware of those body kicks. They're coming. He's chambering that kick. And when it lands, man, it's just brutal. He's able to take guys out. Beautiful fight right there, again, by Yair Rodriguez.
Kicks from all different directions for Yair Rodriguez. For Josh Emmett, he needs to counter some of these attacks for Yair Rodriguez when he comes in close. How does he do it?
He needs to counter him. Josh Emmett is great at counter. I remember I spoke earlier in the show, he's got long arms. It's great for a shorter torso body because it covers a lot more of the area. If you could stay centered right here, then when they go to the head attack, you move up 20%. When they go to the liver, you go down 20%. He needs to live in this area and cover, counter. He does this very well, Josh Emmett. He's got tremendous power, and he's got really a very good guard game for this type of striker against Yair. You see him right here against Felipe. We're going to get into it right here. This is a cover counter. You cover one side, you counter with the other. I'm going to let this roll. As I said, he's got pretty good long arms. Look at this. Covering with the left hand, and while he's covering with the left hand, he's going to be countering that right hand. This one's chambered. One's covering, one's chambered right here. It allows you to throw the punch. He does this all the time. Right, left, right. Counters yours. Again, this one, I'm going to back it up a little bit. This is more of a frame, we call this. If you don't have the opportunity to cover, you can kind of just stick your arms out and frame it and hope to deflect the punch. Now the punch has to come in a looping angle. So you see him right here. With this arm, he's going to frame it out. And it's going to kind of take the trajectory of the punch, mess it up a bit, and he's going to be able to counter off of it. Here it comes. Frames on it, counters back with a big right hand. I'll let it roll. Again, he finishes everything up with the hooks all the time. This one, we're going to see a little head movement. This is the evasion. Jeremy Stephens has a mean uppercut. We've seen this before, right? He knocks people out with this uppercut. Jeremy Stephens whiffs on this uppercut, and you see Josh Emmett just gets out of range. And when he's out of range, he loves to chamber that right hand right here. It's ready to go. Jeremy Stephens missed this uppercut. You know he's coming back with a hard right hand. This one sat him down. It's on the button. Finishes aggressively in this one. This one right here, Scott Holtzman, he's going to show a little bit of range right here in his style. Not only just the cover counter, he's going to get head offline. So Holtzman right here, these guys are both on a, you have to imagine if they're on a train track, then they're both gonna get hit right now. Scott Holtzman is throwing punches down the middle. He's gonna move his head a little bit offline, a little bit off the railroad tracks right here, and then throw his strike. That way he's not in the line of fire, but he can still throw power right here from this right hand that's chambered. So he's gonna do that. I'm gonna let it roll for you guys. Gets his head offline right here. That little bit of movement, you see where his head's at? His head is off to the side, but the right hand came down the middle, landed right there against Scott Holtzman. So he's got a lot of tricks. You don't always pick up on them. They're not always super flashy. Oh, man. That's a good moment to freeze this one. This one is pertinent for this matchup coming up against Yair Rodriguez. You see right here, Ricardo Lamas gets caught off of the kick. This is something that he needs to use in this matchup because you know Yair Rodriguez is going to be throwing a lot of kicks. When you fight a kicker and you know they're going to be throwing a lot of kicks, you have to tell yourself, I can't just eat a kick and react. You have to say, my hand is going to be chambered. And as soon as I start seeing the flinch of a hip, the hips coming for the kick, I have to fire the right hand down the pipe. If that doesn't land, finish it up with the left hook. That's what he's doing right here. He knows Ricardo's been throwing kicks already in this fight. So he gets that right hand chambered in this matchup, and he's waiting for Ricardo. Ricardo, what does he do? They always say, don't throw a naked kick because there's no punches in front of it. You see right here, look at the hips. You can tell, it looks like he's about to kick a soccer ball. He knows it's coming. Look at where Josh Emmett is. He's already, even though his hands are very low, he knows he's throwing a right hand. He's looking to counter this immediately. And so as soon as Ricardo starts throwing this kick, Emmett's all over it. Right hand, left hook on the button, sits him down, knocks him out. This is something he's going to have to utilize against Yair.
Perhaps a bit of a cat and mouse game between these two opposite style strikers. For Yair Rodriguez, he's no stranger to chaining strikes together, throwing a lot of combinations, kicks and punches.
Yeah, what he's good at is obviously we've shown the striking. And what a lot of kickers like to do is they kick to set up a punch as well. And he does that beautifully. It's something that you have to really watch. Because if you commit to blocking a kick, you need to be cautious of the punch after. Watch here. He's going to throw a kick against Brian Ortega. He's going to immediately switch stances, go to a little mini Superman punch, and angle out. But as soon as the kick comes, as soon as he's retracted right here, right, he's immediately going. He's going to go right into a little mini Superman punch. Going to find an angle, trying to not allow Brian to have a counter for him. He's in, he's out. He's throwing multiple strikes in the process of it. Boom, boom, angled out. Brian hit nothing but air. Great job. You see right here, Alex Caceres, same thing. Hook kick, immediately follows the left punch. He's very, very good. One thing that I've picked up on with Yair, when he throws a right kick, he's normally trying to throw a punch immediately after. He'll go just like that one, right kick to left hand, or a lot of times he'll go right kick, right hand. But there's always a kick punch element to his game, which Emmett's gonna have to be cautious by, because if Emmett's blocking the kick, committing, it leaves an opening down the middle. You see right here, there's that patented liver kick. If he's in southpaw stance, I've said it 1,000 times, liver kick. If he's in orthodox stance or either stance, right kick is probably followed by a right punch. You're gonna see it right here. Even off of the front kick, which is very untraditional. You see right here, he throws that liver kick and then I'll roll it forward. He's gonna throw a right kick right here, a little front teep almost. There's an opening. As I said before, you have to block the kicks. But when you block the kicks, it lowers your hands. Look where his hand's at. Once again, Yair Rodriguez recognizes that. He's going to bring his right hand up and get a free shot right here. He finds the free openings. If you give him something, he'll take advantage of it right away. I'm going to roll it forward. Right kick, right punch follows right after. He's looking for those free shots. You can't allow him to have those. Here we go against BJ Penn. Throws that right kick, land to the face immediately. Even with the low hands, he's gonna follow the right kick with the right punch, sits BJ down. Something you have to be cautious of. And it's very tough to deal with because you're thinking block and then you're getting hit in the face. So it's something Josh Emmett, using those long arms, has to be very mindful of not committing to one thing or the other. Kind of have to play a middle game of blocking and head off for the line and covering his face at the same time.
So we went over the counters for Josh Emmett, chaining strikes together, probably the counter for the counter from Yair Rodriguez. As we said, cat and mouse game as they go back and forth. Walking combos for Josh Emmett. He employed this, and we'll take a look, against Calvin Kattar. That was his last fight, went the full 25 minutes. He got it done on the scorecards.
Against Calvin Kattar, who's a high-level striker who uses the jab, right? The longest strike. So this is something that he could use against Yair Rodriguez, who's the kicker, who likes to stay long. This is a staple of Josh Emmett, these walking combos. I've really picked up on this in his game. He loves, as I've showed you, he's got power in both hands. He's got the double jab. But when he needs to cover the distance, when he knows somebody's trying to stay long or they're backing up a lot, he will use this walking combo. And I just want to set this up with this. When you throw a punch normally, we want to retract it. So if I get too heavy, I get over my foot, I'm off balance. The only way for me to catch myself is to take a step. It's like if I stood here and somebody pushed me, I would have to step, otherwise I'd fall on my face. Walking combos works the same way. When you do these walking combos, if you're going to throw with all your power, as Emmett does, he's going to throw and overextend with his right hand. So you see how far he's getting right here. He's over his leg right now with his head. His power is all coming forward. So he knows he's doing this, so he's fine. But traditionally, you wouldn't be able to retract your punch. So what you do is you walk with it. Your right hand goes. Instead of falling, your right foot follows. Then you can finish it. Left hand goes, left foot follows, so on and so on. There'll be a stutter step in there as well. But he does this to cover distance, and he does this, and he lands strikes very effectively. Right hand, left hand, stutter step, right hand. This is his walking combo. This is a staple of his game. He did this throughout the fight against Kattar because Kattar kept using that jab. He didn't like it. He wanted to clear that. He wanted to get into power range. We'll move forward against Kattar some more. You see right here, he's going to mix it up. He's going to lead with an elbow, but then he's still going to go and do the walking combo. You see here, elbow, walks forward, puts him against the fence. Now take note of that. When you walk forward with this three-punch combo, we're probably covering 10 feet inside the octagon. So eventually, your opponent is going to be against the fence. This is a good strategy that he could use against somebody like Yair Rodriguez. You see in this one, the punches didn't land, but what did he do? He had him across the black line, so he went and immediately tied him up and got into this wrestling style. He didn't complete this takedown, but he's able to get his opponent against the fence where he could lay on him. And this is where Emmett does a lot of his best takedown work, is against the fence. So don't be surprised if we see this strategy against Yair Rodriguez where he's doing his walking combos to land punches or even set up a takedown or attempt to hold him against the fence in that fight.
Well, known for his power in the striking and the boxing, but a lot of people will sleep on the fact that he was a high-level college wrestler. And for Josh Emmett, perhaps employing some takedowns would be smart against a striker like Rodriguez.
I think it's imperative that he throws them. Even if he doesn't land these takedowns, if he gets in on the hips, then it's going to have Yair thinking about it. And then it's going to set up his best punch, right? If I get in on the hips one time, I could get in and throw that overhand right that we've showed you so many times. But let's talk about these takedowns. If he can get a takedown on Yair, this would be tremendous. This is going to only help him. His favorite takedowns are right here. We talk about this all the time on the broadcast. You say this. The black line, this black line, that way, when we get here, we know we're in shooting distance because the fence is right here. It's only a couple of feet. He loves to do his takedowns from here. He doesn't do a tremendous amount from the open floor. He will do them in the center, but he likes to be here. So if he finds you here, or if he finds himself here against Yair Rodriguez, he's probably going to shoot in, and this is what he's looking for, to get you against the fence, get his hands together, get all of his weight. Look at this. All of his weight is here against your hips. He's got everything from the ground up, pressing into you so he can get his hands together. And then from here, he's going to try to get his hands together, elevate you, use that power, and just dump you, get you on your butt. Not a big slam here, but enough to get the takedown. I spoke about not using takedowns in the center. I'm going to give you an instance right here where he does use it, and he does it beautifully. I want to show you some of the wrestling credentials that he has. Scott Holtzman right here. He's timing Scott Holtzman for the takedown right here. He's going to level change. He's going to wait for Scott to throw a strike, and as soon as he sees that strike coming, you're going to see Josh Emmett change levels and get in on the hips on this double leg right here. So I'm going to roll it forward. You see Scott throw this strike. Watch the timing right here. Level change and perfect on a double. So right now, he's in on a double, both hands against each leg. And usually you would just run through them, power double right here. Scott, he has wrestling credentials as well. He knows how to defend this. So it's not easy on Emmett to get this takedown. So he's going to switch right here. He's going to go single leg right here. You see he's going to grab his hands together, get the single leg. Scott, recognizing this, he's trying to pull out. right here. He's trying to pull his left leg out. Again, Josh Emmett, recognizing this, he's going to go high leg single, bringing the legs up nice and high right here, where he's got Scott way up here off balance, leaning back. You can see right here his body language. He's off balance right now. He's not really stable right now. High leg single, he's going to push him forward, trying to get him off balance. And then this is the finishing detail. He's going to go single leg sweep. You see him setting it up right here. Josh Emmett's right leg is going to clip out the right leg of Scott Holtzman. And he's going to complete the takedown right here. I'll roll it. Beautiful job chain wrestling right there. And a beautiful job of Emmett going from primary takedown to secondary takedown, all on the reaction, the counter ability of his opponent. Whatever he came with, whatever Scott Holtzman defended with, he used another counter as well. So great job. Call that chain wrestling, finding the opening, getting the finish. He's got those type of takedowns in the middle. And this is where he does the most of his handiwork. Get you against the fence. Using those type of walking combos would be a great way to get his opponent against the fence. And if he gets you there, he's looking to push you against it. Find a scramble opportunity to get your hands together, and we spoke about it a while ago. Elevate you with that power, get a big dump, and take you down. If he could take Yair down, not only would that be scoring points, but it's going to be in his head the entire time and try to set up some openings for those big overhand rights that he likes to throw.
All right, for Yair Rodriguez, he is not used to being on the ground in any way, shape, or form, but he does have the ability should it go there.
Defensive grappling. Yair's not really known for this, for his grappling, because he's such a tremendous striker. But Yair, actually, watching footage on him, he's got tremendous instincts. He's got instincts, and he's gotten so much better over the course of his career. He works with Izzy Martinez. Been with him for a while. I've seen the course, the improvements throughout fight to fight. So I wanted to show this one. This is actually a loss that Yair had against Frankie Edgar. One of the best to ever do it. One of the best chain wrestlers that we've had. Somebody who's relentless. They get in on the hips. We just spoke about Josh Emmett's chain wrestling. Frankie Edgar does this. You see, Yair has good instincts right now. He's hipping away. He's fighting with an over-under. He's doing all the right things. He makes one mistake coming up right here. He goes from having this underhook, underhook, or a whizzer, sometimes they call it, but this is the underhook right here. He lets go of that. He lets go of that and goes for the guillotine. If you're going for the guillotine, you're pretty much saying, I'm committing to the submission, but how do you finish a guillotine? You probably have to jump guard and end up on your back. So you're giving up on the defense of the wrestling, which Izzy did not like. And so you see that in this fight. We're going to roll forward. He's doing proper defense right here. And at that point, you see, I'll back it up so you can see a little more clear. He let go of the underhook and went for the guillotine. It's going to be tough to choke out Frankie Edgar. Frankie goes high crotch, elevates him, dumps him. This was Yair's first loss in the UFC. Frankie did a great job of taking down the striker and showing a way to beat him. From there in his career, Yair has learned. He's polished up. He already had good instincts, and he was already working with Izzy. He just had to polish certain things. He was doing the right thing, and then he made a mistake. He got rid of that mistake. He's not doing those anymore. He knows what to do. You see right here, he's going to go airborne, not get it. Stevens has an attempt. Look at this. Over, under, right away, pulling him up. Doing the right thing, not trying to go for a choke. Korean Zombie right here. Trying to get in deep, showing great balance right there, not allowing him to finish that takedown. Again with Korean Zombie, I want to show you right here. Korean times this takedown beautifully. Gets in on the hips. He's got his hands almost together. He's at hip level. He's where he needs to be. His head is on the outside. He's got his hands almost together. Yair should be getting taken down right here. Yair does all the right things. I want to show you what he does. This is something that anytime you get on his hips, he's looking to do this. Immediately, he's getting an overhook. Getting an overhook, and he's trying to bring this hand up. He's trying to bring the grip from around the hips to the back, where he's much stronger, he has a better fight. And the other thing that he's trying to do is he's trying to take Korean Zombie's head and bring it to the middle of his body, not on the outside. He's trying to take this elbow and keep it close to his body and shuck him to the middle of his body where they're 50-50 in front of each other. So I'm going to roll it forward. You see right here, he's lifting the arm right here, and he's pushing. You don't see Zombie's head anymore. He's using his elbow in his hand to push Zombie in front of him, where now it's a 50-50 fight. And lastly, you saw right there, he was working for the underhook. Because ideally, he would love to be an over-under, 50-50 pummeling position. So, making good choices right here, didn't get taken down. Right here, Brian Ortega, Same thing, kind of angles out. You see him bringing the arm high, not getting taken down. This is the last sequence right here. Brian Ortega puts him against the fence. Right now, Rodriguez has 2 underhooks. He's trying to bring Brian Ortega back up. Izzy Martinez is in the corner right now. He's watching this. He knows it's too late. If you could stuff a takedown and bring him up, fine. But if you find yourself against the fence and you're still fighting this for too long, you're going to get taken down. You could hear the audio of Izzy saying, whizzer under, whizzer under. He wants him to let go and go overhook, underhook, or a whizzer. When you hear a whizzer, it means an overhook. An overhook brings it up. A whizzer is kind of putting pressure. But it's the similarities. You watch this. Underhook whizzer, underhook whizzer. Izzy's telling them to adjust it. You see the adjustment. He's listening to his coach. He's listening. He's thinking. He made the right decision, but he wasn't able to get the underhook. Brian Ortega still is able to complete this, but he does himself a good position with this overhook, trapping Brian Ortega's arm. I'm going to let this play through a little bit. Brian Ortega steps through, gets a nice takedown right here. But I want you to make note of this. One thing, we're talking about takedown defense, but I want to add this in here real quick. Yair Rodriguez has tremendous armbar. His natural ability, his body type, flexibility, whatever it is, he's a natural at the armbar. And anytime he hits the mat, he's thinking pop the legs back and try to go for the armbar. I've seen it in all of his fights. He doesn't always finish the armbar, but he puts people in very dangerous positions. In this fight, if you remember correctly, Brian Ortega tears his shoulder in this sequence. It was the armbar attack right here from Yair that tore Brian's arm. And so even if you get him taken down, you have to be cautious of his attacks, because even though he didn't get the submission, he was able to injure Brian. And I know that's not what his intentions were, but if you watch this right here, you could see Yair does a great job. He's trapped the arm. He threw his legs over. He's trying to get his legs in front of Brian's face. If he can get his leg in front of Brian's face, that's how he's going to complete the armbar. He's not able to do it. Brian shuts that off by putting his forehead onto the ground right here. But the major thing that's happening is Brian's arm is still stuck right here. And this is like a Kimura. If I was going to bend my arm like this, it only goes so far backwards. When it stops, that's what a Kimura submission is. Brian's arm is Kimured right now. He's in a bad position because of the armbar attack. They fell into this position, but if Yair didn't have this type of ability to throw up these arm bars so quickly, Brian would have never got caught. So if I roll it forward, you see Brian will take his arm, his shoulder's in a bad position. I think it probably popped somewhere around here. I'm not a doctor. I don't know exactly what happened, but I would put my money on it that this arm bar caused this tear in his shoulder. Look at this. That's a bad position. And you've got to think that his arm is probably twisting out this way somewhere, with this being his fist. It tore his arm. He's going for the arm bar. I'm going to roll it. You can see as soon as Brian gets his arm free right here, he starts cupping his arm, trying to support it, because at that point, he's already injured. So that's where the injury probably happened. But again, great takedown defense. If he goes to the mat, he's got the opportunity to throw up an arm bar, or something freak accident might happen because of it. But he's very good on the feet, very good on the ground as well.
As you said, good instincts from Yair Rodriguez on the ground, should Josh Emmett choose to take it there. Now we'll go to keys to victory, because we went through the X's and O's on what they do well. What are the keys to victory? We start with Yair Rodriguez.
Let's get through it. Fight long and chop away at the legs. Look, I said it a million times. He's got tremendous kicks. If he could stay long, avoid the takedowns, avoid the big overhand power shots of Josh Emmett, and kick away, it'll give him better opportunity to win this fight. Also, wrestling defense, we just went over it. He's good off of his back, but why end up there? Stay long where the high percentage of your fights have had more success. Stay long, get off of the fence, don't go there. If you get to the fence, overhook, underhook, listen to Izzy in your corner. Don't go for the guillotine, use that whizzer and circle off. Lastly, stay flashy, baby. Some people say stick to the fundamentals. Not with Yair Rodriguez. He's cut his teeth from this, man. Stay flashy. He's gone for the jumping switch kicks that I showed you, the elbows, everything that he does. If he chops away at the legs and breaks down Emmett, has Emmett lowering his hands because he's chopping the legs, and he keeps this wrestling defense on the feet, then he can go for these flashy type moves, try to get a finish in this fight.
All right, now let's go to Josh Emmett. If he were to realize interim UFC featherweight championship gold, what does he need to do?
Opposite of Yair Rodriguez, Josh Emmett needs to close the distance. Yair was trying to stay at range. Josh needs to get in close, close the distance where he can land those powerful shots. If it's the walking combos, if it's the double jab, get in close where he can be more effective. Also, have an answer for the kicks. I showed you already in that Ricardo Lamas clip. If Yair is going to be kicking the leg of Josh Emmett, he needs to know right away after he takes that first kick, chamber that right hand, and anything that happens, if you even flinch, I'm throwing a right hand down the middle, followed by a left hook. Try to make him pay for those kicks. Don't allow him to throw kicks freely. Lastly, set up those headshots. I love it when Josh Emmett does his patented move of pawing with the jab, level changing overhand right, switching stances, overhand left, walking combinations, set those up, give himself an opportunity to land those devastating shots.
Compelling matchup for the interim title in the UFC featherweight division, one that has been owned by Alexander Volkanovski since December of 2019. But Volkanovski going for the lightweight title down in Perth, Western Australia. In the main event, sets up perhaps featherweight gold for Yair Rodriguez or Josh Emmett. For UFC analyst Alan Jouban, I am Brendan Fitzgerald. Hope you enjoyed this breakdown of the featherweight title fight coming up at UFC 284.